following is a presentation of the iRacing eSports Network.
To the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
To the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside, and Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original eSport racing game. This is iRacing.
Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
The 10th annual World Cup of iRacing. Here on the iRacing eSports Network, we are SimSpeed TV, and it is our pleasure to bring you Oval Match 7. This is going to be an interesting one. We just had Road Match 5, Canada versus Northwest United States, and in a couple of races that had some controversy in them, Canada took a convincing win, but now they shrug off the Lotus 79 and Brands Hatch to go to the fast Michigan International Speedway in the NASCAR truck cars. This is going to be an awesome one. Same teams, different drivers, but surely some of the same fantastic racing. My name is Reese Gardner. Jay Kennedy with me in the commentary box. Jay, qualifying is pretty much done, and it is very close.
I cannot believe how tight this field is. The biggest gap between two cars is 1/10 of a second. It's so tight. First to second, 200ths of a second. Second to third, 100th. Third to fourth, 7,000ths. Fourth to fifth, 700ths. 1,000th of a second from fifth to sixth. 9,000ths from sixth to seventh. It's going to be incredibly tight. The way that the drivers tackle the pit entry and the pit exit is going to be the deciding factor on who will win this race.
Yes, indeed. And those mandatory pits, they're going to be particularly difficult because they will be done under green flag conditions. There are no safety cars. There are no cautions in these oval events in the World Cup of iRacing. You also got to make sure that your braking performance is down pat. These guys will be well aware that the Chevrolet Silverado and Toyota Tundra trucks, they're very good at going fast in a straight line, but not as good at slowing down.
The one thing that's really going to impact a lot of these guys is the drivers that raced in the previous event and are doing double duty and coming back to back. They would not have been able to practice the pit entry. The guys that have been out here and been able to do the warm-up, they would have been able to practice the pit entry, the green flag pit stops, which are the most fun part of oval racing, I think. They've been able to practice them. The guys that are doing double duty, the likes of Brandon Hawken, who we saw win all 3 races, he'll start from the back of the field, but he has not been able to practice a green flag pit entry.
Nah, certainly not. As we go into the race session, the only drivers that are here from the road section of these knockouts is Claude Belval, Brandon Hawken, Robert Laronde, as well as Chris Beck and Wayne Hutchison from Northwest. So we've got a few new faces in this particular one, but Matthew W. Bell is the pole position man for Canada. Claude Belval in second with Brian Bennett in third. Lauren Arden in fourth place. Ray Partridge in fifth. Carl Scharf in sixth. Austin Derbyshire in seventh. Eighth, Chris Beck. Jeff Stabno in ninth. And William Fletcher rounding out the top 10.
We've got Dee Palmer in 11th with Stephen Paulison in 12th position. C.R. Reid and Robert Laronde on the 7th row with Mark McFadden and Brandon Hawken on the final row of the grid. You'd think, looking at the way that qualifying's gone, slight advantage to Northwest, that they've got the majority of drivers in the top 10, but the front row to Team Canada, I must say well done to everyone out there. It's made it nice and easy looking at the cars. The majority of the cars in team colours makes it a lot easier for us to try and work out what's going on.
Yeah, certainly does. As they come out here onto the racing surface of Michigan Speedway. The problem that these drivers are going to face is the racing line around Michigan. We saw last night, and you and I both know, Jay, from racing this track in the very distant past.
Well, the old version.
The old version, but it's still true in the current version of the track that was rescanned recently by iRacing. You can't go too low because the optimum racing line is actually a car width or so up from the bottom of the banking. So if drivers are going side by side, it's going to be the driver on the outside in that mid to high line that will have the advantage coming off the corner.
We saw last night as well that the guys on the outside were able to squeeze the guys on the inside down so that they were compromised on their exit and get the run on the outside. So even if they are ahead through the mid corner on the inside, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're able to take advantage. We're into the start zone. Green flag flies. 20 laps for Heat 1. Bring it on.
Yes, indeed. And Matthew Bell leading the way. And Claude Belval already coming under attack from Lauren Arden on the outside. And on the inside, Brian Bennett. Oh, don't want to go like this too early, people. Belval in a lot of trouble here, actually. He's getting swamped.
Yeah, didn't get a great start, but in saying that, now trying to come back on the inside. If you can stay about where he is, that groove that he's in now, he might be able to get the advantage coming out of turn 4. It's still side by side, almost door-to-door contact. Who's going to jump into the pits? Pit lane is open straight away. And we saw that guys pitting early in these races was a huge advantage going on in the later parts of these races.
Yeah, certainly was. Claude Belval on the inside here for position 2. Ray Partridge, one of the drivers to come into the pits. In fact, the only driver to pit here on lap 1. He is away. But it is on for second place. Brian Bennett currently occupying it. Claude Belval and Lauren Arden going side by side. And Austin Derbyshire making the move. He is one of the drivers to come into the pits, and he's got 2 Northwest following him in. Dee Palmer and Wayne Hutchison. Claude Belval jumping into the pits as well. So we've got quite a few drivers going for that early pit stop, trying to get that advantage. So Brian Bennett is in hot pursuit of Bell. Sorry, Jay.
I was just going to say that the drivers that have probably watched a few of the other heats or the other matchups before this will know the advantage that pitting early actually gives you. It's surprising how much of an advantage it actually gives, but Brian Bennett looks really quick and really comfortable out there on track. He might be able to steal the lead away here. Of course, the ruling in this series, you are allowed to drive below the white line on the tri-oval. You are not allowed to overtake below the white line on the tri-oval. So guys are going to be a little bit careful of that. Driving below the white line is okay as long as you're not trying to overtake.
That's exactly right. And once you are below the white line, below the white line and side by side with someone, they have no obligation to let you back up onto the racing surface. So gotta be careful there. Gotta play your cards right.
Bennett gives up the spot to Lauren Arden, and so Arden now will try and hunt down the Team Canada driver, Matthew Bell. 4 laps down, still 16 to go. This is a great fight going on.
Yeah, all using the tri-oval there. Awesome pack. Matthew Bell holding off against the Northwest onslaught. Meanwhile, Brandon Hawken, Stephen Paulison, and Mark McFadden in their own little pack behind these guys.
Bennett's just lost another spot, so he was challenging for Matthew Bell. We're going to change
Bell
the lead
in.
though. Here we go. Bell's coming in the pits. Lauren Arden takes the lead.
Yeah, so Northwest doing very well here. Canada, I guess, doing the best they can. Oh, Paulison, a little bit of a twitch on the down change. These guys all coming in. Of course, Michigan, one of those circuits that's close to both Canada and the United States. You can tell from the Canadian and United States flags flying there in the tri-oval. So I would presume that a lot of these drivers are well at home here.
Well, probably more so the Club Canada as opposed to the Northwest. A little bit too far away from the Northwest side of things, but...
Oh! Austin Derbyshire in the wall! That was a big hit. He's got big damage.
Loses a spot to Partridge. He's going to lose another spot to few other drivers by the looks as well. Lucky for him, he's got a couple of teammates from Club Canada behind him. Still got 3 cars left to pit. Brian Bennett did pit, and he has come out ahead of Belval. How close is this going to be between these two guys? Belval straight around the outside, so pitting early for him has worked really well. Brian Bennett now dropped 2 spots because Matthew Bell has gone through as well.
Yes, indeed. So, Belval and Bell doing very well for Canada at the moment. No drivers are going into the pits as of late, but seems like a pretty convincing lead there for Belval and Bell.
Effective lead, that is.
Effective, yes.
Yeah. So Brian Bennett, as we know, was at the back or at the mid of that lead pack. So Belval and Bell will likely have a 2 or 3 second lead, as we're just seeing a change of position too. Ray Partridge, CR Reid through. Partridge compromised. He's going to lose another spot here. Just didn't get the run out of turn 2.
Yeah, certainly not optimal at all. LaRonde using that outside line very well against Palmer. Out of turns 3 and 4 and convincingly by. So
change for the lead, or the effective lead. Matthew Bell through. Also Brandon Hawken yet to pit, but he's gone from last to third once again. So that's another race that he's just worked his way through the field. I don't think that'll stand when he comes into the pits, but good to see him up that high. It's looks good on paper. It's not quite as good when you actually see the effective position. But Matthew Bell now the effective race leader. Or will Lauren Arden be able to come back and respond? Pace-wise, looking at the lap times, Matthew Bell is going to streak ahead.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. Bell and Belval working together really well right now to possibly take a 1-2 for Team Canada. Possibly. We'll have to see what happens in these latter stages. We've got 8 minutes remaining. Yep.
Yeah, halfway through the race. We are now on lap number 11 in this 20-lap race. Of course, if you are new to the format, as soon as we finish this race, we'll go at it all over again with the reverse grid. And it's the reverse grid race has been so fun throughout. And these races, the truck races, have put on a hell of a show. More so than we saw in the Lotus 49. The Lotus 79, I should say. That Lotus 79 race we just saw before, though, that was incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, it certainly was. Drivers going at it all the way through the field. And quite a bit of controversy as well. We don't mind a little bit of that here at SimSpeed TV. Only 1 point in it at the moment, according to the administrators. To what team? We're not quite sure.
I don't think it matters at the moment, but that will shuffle as soon as we see these guys jump into the pits. Lauren Arden with a 7-second lead. The gap between he and Bell is under 30 seconds. That's around about the time that you lose in the pit stop. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes. He's going to go as long as he can as well. Now, talking about controversy, we're going to see controversy tonight in a few hours' time, Reese, when we go live for second to last round of the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series. It's going to be heated tonight with the reverse grid format. The reverse sprint format was controversial, to say the least, last time we ran that format. It's going to be good fun at Sebring.
Yeah, certainly. Sebring International Raceway, always a circuit that has provided for exciting racing in the V8 Supercars here on iRacing, but with that reverse sprint format, it's certainly going to turn things up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry drivers, but quite a few satisfied spectators and commentators.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The last time we did the reverse sprint format, we saw first-time winners, 2 first-time winners. So fingers crossed we'll see the same again. Here comes LaRonde up the inside on Partridge. Partridge is really struggling through 1 and 2. Just can't get the drive out of 2. That's another spot he's lost.
Yeah, certainly. Partridge not having the best of runs down there in the bottom bit of the top 10, and he's coming under pressure from his teammate De Palma. Of course, these two will want to try and work together, trade drafts, try and catch up to Laurent. They got 2 Canadians up ahead of them. Actually, make that 3. They got CR Reed, Schaff, and Laurent as well. They're going side by side.
Palmer had to check up there. He actually had a better run, but Partridge's car or truck was just in the spot that he was trying to get the run there, so wasn't able to come through. He's going to come through at the inside through 3 and 4, but Partridge, I think tyre-wise, might be really starting to struggle here.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, and we saw that in the race last night between UK and Ireland and Japan. As the race neared its end, there was an awful lot of sliding as the tyres just completely gave up. We do have a warm track here, 44 degrees, so the tyres are not going to be enjoying this.
For those of you wanting to know that in Fahrenheit, it's hot.
Yeah.
Like really hot. I can't work it out. It's about 115, 120?
Something like
I
that.
don't know. It's over 100. 37 is 100. There you go. So it's over that.
Well, there you are.
That's all I know. I only remember that because my grandmother used to tell me I'm only allowed to go. She would only go swimming when it got to 100. So I had to work out that was 37.
Righto.
How's that for random fact? Random facts here on SimSpeed TV. Arden staying out. We're good at random facts. Arden staying out. Now got an 8-second lead. The gap between Arden and Beldo, 27 seconds. So it's closing at around about half a second a lap. Arden is in a lot of trouble here. He will not be leading. Probably going to drop back to maybe 5th or even 6th place when he comes out of the pits.
Yeah. It's not the best there for Laurent Arden, and I think in the next race he may just have to be one of the first to pit if he wants any hope of getting this good result for his club.
Partridge has just lost another spot through 1 and 2, giving another spot to another teammate, so it's not the end of the world to give up a spot to a teammate, but De Palma looks strong, might be able to come and close that gap down to Laronde ahead. And Carl Schaff
having
also
said that, tiny bit of a twitch there from De Palma, Jay. I'm very sorry.
Laronde also nearly hit the wall. This is where the tyres really start to struggle now.
Yes, certainly. Team Canada currently in the lead of this one. It's 78-43 at the moment.
And Arden still needs to pits as well as Hawken. 2 laps to go. So Arden and Hawken will need to come in this time. Hawken in now. In. Let's see Arden come in and then we'll watch and see where he comes out. The white flag will fly this time by. Of course, the penalty for not pitting in these races is huge. 2-lap penalty plus pit lane start. Pit lane start in this race will absolutely ruin any chance you have of any result.
Yeah, absolutely. Arden passing below the yellow line into the apron. So let's see where Arden ends up. Yeah, taking it very easy. I think he realizes
you don't want to get a penalty there. That absolutely ruins you as well. If you get a penalty, 17 seconds added to your pit stop time. When you're only pitting for 7/10 of a second, to add 17 seconds, that's day done. So you don't want to do that. But Matthew Bell will come around and take the race lead. Arden still stopped, and 4-second stop for Arden. That's going to hurt as well. Arden still just coming out of the pit lane. Going to drop, as I said, to around about 5th, maybe even 6th position at the moment. But side-by-side action between between Schaff and Stabnow. Stabnow through into 6th. Arden's come out in 4th, but he's going to drop behind. He might even drop to 7th position here, Laurent Arden. This is going to be tight.
Arden was slow coming out of the pits, shifting early. The revs were very low.
Stabnow up into 4th.
Very good stuff there from Stabnow. Definitely coming on strong in this latter stage of the event.
Well done to Bell, picking up the win. Belvol in 2nd, Bennett in 3rd. Arden will cross the line officially in 6th position in the end. So that's really painful for him. We'll get the results up on screen in just a moment, but of course reverse grid in the next race. We'll mix up this field once again. That was a fun race, and I'm surprised the strategy that some of those guys actually played in that one.
Yes,
The
indeed.
results on screen now.
Yes, indeed. Canada are the winners of this one. Matthew Bell and Claude Belval taking a 1-2. Brian Bennett in 3rd. So Jeff Stabnow in 4th with CR Reed in 5th. 6th goes to Lauren Arden. And the top 10 completed by Carl Schaff, Robert Laurent, Dee Palmer, and Ray Partridge, with Brandon Hawken as well. So now we move into the second race. Lauren Arden has disconnected. He has left the server manually. Not sure what that's about.
Possibly some sort of tech issue. Can happen between races, but that'll be possibly why we saw him so slow. We were unable to shift or something. Maybe trying to restart something and get back out on the circuit. But Fletcher and Beck on the front row. Derbyshire and Hutchinson on the second row. McFadden, Paulson on the third row. Hawken, Partridge on the fourth row. Fifth row, Palmer and Laronde, Schaff, Arden, Reed, Stabnow, Bennett, Belval, and Bell. It's got one driver out there actually not in the race, as we've had a couple of drivers had to join, but having some sort of tech issues as well. So as we get ready to get underway, this is going to be a really interesting heat with a really mixed up field.
Yes, indeed. Really looking forward to this. The matchup between UK and Ireland and Japan was really one to behold, and I certainly think it's going to be more of the same at this time around. One outlap. William Fletcher will be the one controlling the field.
I don't think William Fletcher actually is in the event. I think
actually he's not
he
there.
was replaced at the last minute by Wayne Hutchison, so not sure exactly what happened there, because Hutchison took to the grid but didn't do qualifying, and Fletcher did do qualifying, so there's some sort of thing going on there, but we'll find out that later on, and that'll be no doubt posted on the Discord channel for this series. But we get ready to go green. 20
Lauren
laps
Arden
once
back.
again. Hopefully Arden can get out on the circuit. He's going to have a tough job though, because he's going to have to start from the pits.
Yes,
He'll be
indeed.
hoping that the rest of his teammates can get another result and he can come through in that final one. He'll start from the pole.
Well,
we go.
we'll see what happens. Austin Derbyshire leading the inside row. We are green. They wait for the green flag to fly. Chris Beck falling behind Derbyshire. And look at the jostling and the pack already coming into turn one. All in one singular pack, these drivers.
I say I like seeing the green and the red. It makes it so easy to work out what's going on. Well done to both teams for both having team liveries out there. It's awesome to see. But Derbyshire leading. I reckon we're going to see a whole heap of drivers come into the pits right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Drivers
three.
at the... Yeah. 3 drivers at the rear of the field. So that's Bell, Stabnow, and Belval. See what they can do coming up to the end. But the battle is still very much on here at the top of the field. The top 3 are starting to break away. That's Derbyshire, Beck, and Hawken. Have a look at Brandon Hawken. Got a very good run out of turn 2. But Beck is going to have the advantage through these last couple of turns. Will he be able to hold on, or is he just going to yield? Seems like he's just yielded.
I don't think he's got too much to fight with by the looks of it. He's given up that spot quite easily, Chris Beck, but he's a little bit
Palmer
off the pace
and
in the last
Laurent.
ride. Yeah, Palmer and Laurent in. We've also had Bell, Stabnow and Belval in. Also got Lauren Arden back out on the circuit, which is great to see, but he is a long, long way back. The advantage is if these guys from the Northwest Club can pick up the win, he'll start from pole in the last race.
Indeed, he will. Brandon Hawken taking the lead from Austin Derbyshire. Derbyshire had a very poor run through turns 1 and 2, and looks like that poor run is continuing. He's actually yielded to Chris Beck there. So that's a bit odd there. Derbyshire actually, yeah, going for the pits. So trying to get some sort of advantage, and following him in is Brian Bennett. So all drivers going for the absolute earliest strategy that they can.
Tell you what, this lead pack's quite cool. There's 7 trucks in the lead pack. We've got Stephen Paulson has just dropped off the rear, but CR Reid at the rear. We've got side-by-side Hutchison and Partridge, Schaff, McFadden, Beck and Hawken going at it. This is a cool pack, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of these guys jump into the pits because they know that they'll be starting to hold each other up. So coming down right beside Reid. Have a look. Oh, and it's so dangerous for Reid. You can see on board how close those guys pulling into the pits actually were.
That was awkward. Very awkward. Mark McFadden and Chris Beck in the pits as Derbyshire comes out.
And guess who's your effective race leader at this present moment? Matthew Bell.
Yes, indeed. So
Partridge and Hutchison still side by side, and Reid's going to get the run here. He's going to take the spot from Partridge. And, well, Partridge almost off into the wall. He's out in the marbles. Don't want to be too high out there. Wouldn't be surprised to see Partridge come in, and he does. Schaff also coming in to the pits this time. A lot more early pit stop takers this race than the previous one. But Brandon Hawken is just checked out in front. How's this? Out of the 5 races we've seen so far, Hawken's led laps in 4 of them. And won 3 of them.
That's pretty significant there. Brandon Hawken.
Oh, there's contact between Reid and Hutchison. That was close.
Oh, very close between these two. Reid in the Silverado, Hutchison in the Tundra. Have a look at the run that Hutchison has on entry. Just a bit of a slide. Not able to maintain that momentum. He's going to have to stay in the draft here.
Awesome
These two
battle.
fighting very hard, yes indeed. And I'm noticing at the back of the top 10 there is a chain of Northwest cars. Stabno, Beck, Bennett and Palmer in 11th. They've just overtaken Carl Schaff.
Yeah, so now on track at 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th for those guys with Schaff in 10th. But they probably will jump a few of these guys at the front once the pit stops happen. We saw it was around about 34 seconds lost net time in the pits. So that'll put the guys out in front, put Hawken all the way back into 13th position at the current pace that he's got. The early pit stop is such a huge advantage. I'm surprised how much of an advantage it is at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. It's very, very interesting. I think maybe just giving the tyres a bit of a chance to cool down a little more, so that they aren't as hot by the end. That may be one reason why it works. Field is a little bit more spread out than it was last time around. I'm not seeing a huge amount of inter-team battling here. It's more just drivers from the same club fighting amongst themselves in a pack, just cruising.
The pace is definitely down in this race in comparison to the earlier one. But as you say, everyone's just driving off in their own team packs. It's really interesting to see the dynamic of this race in comparison to the first one. It's completely different. We saw big packs of cars and shuffling of positions. But what I think that's going to do, it means at the end of the race, once we see these top 4 out on track now come into the pits, and when they come into that mid-pack at the end, we're going to see those guys fight pretty hard, I think.
Yeah, certainly. Claude Belval and Carl Schaff going very close at the moment. Belval with a really good run, actually, coming out of the last couple of turns and going for that inside, coming through the tri-oval. So those guys are sorting themselves out. Bell out in the lead. He's not out in the effective lead, sorry.
In a class of his own, isn't he?
Yeah, not assailable. Those Northwest guys behind him, they are drafting, but they're just unable to catch up to him.
Well, one thing that they've got in their favour is D. Palmer is the fastest truck out on the circuit at the moment. So if anyone can catch these guys, if they work together and work smart, they might be able to do it. But Bell now up into third with CR Reed and also Wayne Hutchison in the pits coming back out now. But Reed we saw in third position. Have a look at how far he's going to drop back. He's going to probably lose a spot to Belval and Schaff as well, LaRonde. Maybe even Wayne Hutchison might. Oh, sorry, Wayne Hutchison is just coming out of the pits as well. But Ray Partridge, side by side. Mark McFadden goes through. Brandon Hawken now in the pits as well. And Reed has come out right behind Belval, just ahead of Schaff. So they've come out in team packs again.
Hawkins overshot his pit box.
That's ended his race, unfortunately. He won't be able to come back from that. Pit lane time is already at 40 seconds. Majority of the field around about 27 seconds. So it's cost him an extra 10 to 12 seconds just having to reverse and come back. Gap between Stabnow I should say, and Bell staying very stable around 2.3 seconds. I hear a car around. Belval in the wall.
Oh.
What has happened? His race done.
Oh, goodness me. So we go to a replay just to see what happened. Did he just come up too early?
It's just
in front of his teammates.
Ran wide, clipped the wall, and then hard into the inside wall after that. No. Oh, jeez, that's a heavy impact.
God.
No wonder that's race done for him. You'll probably have a little bit of whiplash from that one.
Yeah, more than a little, I'd say. Stephen Paulson, the last car to pit, and so the field is cleansed, I believe.
Yes, field is cleansed, so the only downfall for the Northwest Club is if they do somehow pick up the win, Lauren won't start on pole because it'll now be Belval starting on pole. But Beck looking quick, but last lap time. First, second, third, all doing identical lap times. Beck slightly the fastest car on track, but all doing 41 zeros. So the pace is not enough at the moment for these guys in the Northwest Club to catch up and maybe fight with Bell. Try and get a points update as soon as we can as well.
Yeah, that lead that Bell has, that clear air, is really helping him. He's just... I mean, it's probably like fractions of a degree that the racing line is cooling with all of that empty track in front of him, but it's definitely helping him out.
100% right there. It's definitely making a big difference. But, looking at the current points, looks like, based on the current positions, that Northwest Club will pick up the win in this heat. So it means that we're going to come down to a decider after this, and that's two back-to-back. I did not think that we'd see two deciders back-to-back.
I tell you what, these teams have managed to turn this into a couple of the most competitive rounds, competitive matches that I think we've seen so far. It's certainly been scintillating.
It's been great so far, and we did know beforehand that these were the two most evenly matched teams in the entire event. And looking at the points at the moment, it'll be 68 to Northwest Club, which means 53 to Canada, so that'll be a decent win. They've just got to hold on for now. It's all they have to do is hold on.
Yeah,
easier said than done,
right.
though.
Yeah, certainly.
Around this circuit, you are literally holding on.
Yeah, of course. And Michigan is one of those super speedway tracks that isn't flat out the whole way around. It's not like your Daytonas or your Talladegas where if you're lapping on your own, it's just whatever, you ease the car into the turns and keep the foot planted to the floor. No, not here at Michigan. You've got to lift. You've got to actually drive the car around these turns.
Yep, the car does not drive itself around this circuit. It's so wide that you can get really suckered into dropping too low as well. If you get too low, there's no grip. You need to stay in that mid-high line, but you don't want to push it too hard because the wall just drifts up so fast. As we saw earlier, coming out of turn 2, we've seen, what, 4 or 5 trucks hit the wall at turn 2, at the exit of 2. Really easy to do it. The track just closes up so much more than you're expecting. You don't want to carry too much momentum, and we've seen a lot of guys check up out of 2. And here comes Chris Beck with a bit of a run out of 2. Just managed to get the car gripped up through 2. Should say truck. Get hate mail for calling it a car.
Of course. I'm pretty sure I've got some hate mail addressed to my SimSpeed email for calling the pace truck in dirt ovals a pace car once or twice.
That's right. I'll let you off with that one. So
I know you will.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I will. But the dirt fans might not. But if you want to send hate mail, send it to Fonty at SimSpeed TV. No, that's not really his email address, but he can have it and just blame him for everything. Blame the Kiwis. It's almost over there. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get in trouble for that too. Matthew Bell is starting to have a bit of pressure applied. Lucky for him, there's only 1 lap to go. White flag out this time by. You got to have a bit of country versus country rivalry in a World Cup event, don't we? Bell's gap is now only down to 1.4 seconds. I think his tyres are gone, but he's going to do enough to hold on at the moment. But you never know what can happen in these races. As it is right now, though, will mean that we are going to go down to the decider. Interesting thing is, if Belval actually did not hit the wall, I think it might have nearly been enough for Canada to win that race. So it would have been very, very tight. But Matthew Bell will come across the line and pick up the win. Amazing that one little crash from one driver has changed the entire complexion of this event. Canada will pick up the race win, but as it stands, Northwest Club will win the event, and it means that we're going to go down to a decider once again.
Yes, indeed. So the drivers are going to have a very short break between these races to compose themselves, and then we're going to do it all over again with another inverted field. But the race results for this one: Matthew Bell picking up the win for Team Canada, Jeff Stabno, Chris Beck, Dee Palmer, and Brian Bennett in second to fifth. Sixth, Brian Bennett. Hang on a minute.
I think your screen just
Yes.
updated at that exact minute. Brian Bennett's in fifth,
It did.
Carl Schaff in sixth, C.R. Reid in seventh, Robert Loronde in eighth position. Ninth goes to Mark McFadden, and Wayne Hutchison takes the last 2 points with a 10th position. Partridge Paulison, Hawken, Derbyshire, Arden, and Belval not able to pick up any points. We are waiting for confirmation, but as far as we can work out, it's 66 to 55 is the points, but that could be completely wrong. That's running off J-Maths. J-Maths is often wrong, so we will wait for confirmation, but hopefully we'll have that in just a moment.
Yes, indeed. Well, that second race, not as out-and-out action-packed as the first one, but
It's a bit more
certainly,
tactical, wasn't it?
yeah, certainly an intriguing one. You really got to see how the drivers played to the circuit, I guess you could say, which as I alluded to, really counts at Michigan compared to other tracks of this size.
Yeah, it's been really good to see. I think this last race, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers in the pits on the first 2 or 3 laps. They've a few drivers that race very, very smart would have realised how much of an advantage that undercut is. You're not burning up the tyres coming into the pits when your tyres are already destroyed. So I think that's the big advantage for pitting really early. The braking into the pits when you've got fresh tyres makes it so much easier and makes the tyres last a little bit longer. Trying to dive into the pits on 10, 12, 14 lap old tyres in these extremely hot track conditions makes it quite hard. So Track temp 110, by the way, 110 Fahrenheit at the moment, with a 43.3 degree track temp Celsius. Rather warm conditions out there. Has made for interesting and entertaining racing. But I'm glad it's those guys and not me, because I'd be struggling. I'd probably be in the wall after about 5 or 6 laps with the track as warm as it is right now.
Yeah, certainly. It's actually gone down by 1 degree in the midst of the lack of racing going on at the moment, but it's still going to be quite hot, quite greasy out there. Like a bad box of fish and chips.
Is there such a thing as a bad box of fish and chips?
Oh, I've had a few.
Yeah, I think you're right. I actually have 2. I have 2. Lucky when you did come to visit that we didn't have fish and chips. We had some beautiful food. Well, here, saying that a little bit too much of that greasy fast food while you were visiting a couple of weeks ago.
A little too much. We on our way to and from PAX endlessly for the VSR showdown, we basically lived on energy drinks, fuel station food, and
Drive-through
burgers and
fast food.
chips. Yeah. we barely had time for anything else.
We literally didn't. Here we go for the final race. I'm not going to tell you what I ate on the drive home. Belval will start on pole with Inflection not being in the event. So Belval and Arden, Derbyshire, Hawken, Paulison, Partridge, Hutchison. Then we got McFadden, Laurente, Reed, Schaff, Bennett, Palmer, Beck, Stabnow, and starting in last position, Matthew Bell once again. It doesn't matter for him where he starts, because he'll try and work his way through the field. Try and take the lead once again. Looking forward to seeing how this race plays out. It's going to be interesting to see the tactics in this one. This will decide it. Winner takes all. Whoever gets the most points goes through.
Yes, indeed. This is going to be the matchup of the night. I would definitely hazard. But it's been awesome to see this matchup between Canada and Northwest. The fact that it's gone to a third heat in both the road and the oval rounds, it's pretty significant.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's cool that we've gone to the final round, or to the final race in each one. It's awesome to see that these teams are so closely matched that we've got that in both races. Or both events, and just bodes well for whichever team goes through to have a good show later on, or next weekend I should say, which our friends at RaceSpot TV will bring you here on the iRacing eSports Network, and next weekend another big weekend for us at SimSpeed TV as well, as we're going to give someone a drive in a V8 supercar. How cool is that? Yeah,
that's pretty significant. We've got Aussie Driver Search holding an event next weekend. And as you said, the prize is a drive in a V8 supercar. It's super significant. Big score for sim racing here in Australia and New Zealand. But that is still a week away. Plenty of time to get excited. Plenty of time to build hype. We are about to go racing here at Michigan for the final time in this matchup of the 10th World Cup of iRacing. Claude Belval on the outside. On the inside is going to be Lauren Arden, looking to redeem himself. The green flag flies. Away they go. And Lauren Arden got a very good start there. Unfortunately, Belval missed the boat slightly. Brandon Hawken really pressuring Lauren Arden there. It's Canada versus Northwest up at the front as they go through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Very low lines being seen here as drivers just try not to get into each other. Have a look at Ray Partridge. He's trying to defend the inside here from Brandon Hawken. Big jostling back in the pack, just trying to find their way around this circuit. And Ray Partridge straight into the pits. Following him in is going to be Belval and Bell, yes.
So watch Bell come through the field here using this advantage, and I'm so surprised that only 3 drivers have jumped in. You're going at your slowest point that you do through turn 4 on the first lap, so you might as well use that to your advantage as well, to another big factor. There's a big slide there from Chris Beck in the middle of that last pack. Just held on, but it's on for the lead. Brandon Hawken, could he lead 5 out of the 6 races today?
Yeah, it'd be insane if he could. Lauren Arden holding that outside line pretty well, though. And there we go, Brandon Hawken. Yep, in. Following him in Austin Derbyshire. Also Chris Beck and CR Reed. So we've got 3 Canadians, 1 Northwest going in there at the moment.
Interesting that more Canadians have pitted early than we've seen from the Northwest club. So the Canadian team have obviously watched what's happened in the last 2 races and earlier on. Are taking that advantage by coming in early. I'm really surprised to see not as many drivers in as Brian Bennett putting a lot of pressure on McFadden here.
Yeah, McFadden going majorly defensive down the back straight. Is he going to go for the pits this time? No, he is not. Brian Bennett, as you said, putting that pressure on fantastically right now. Lauren Arden out there in the lead. I am surprised that he is not pitted.
Yeah, I am too. I thought he would have jumped into the pits at his earliest possible opportunity to try and negate any advantage that the guys at the back would have had. Matthew Bell, we saw how good he was in the first 2 heats. And saying that, he's not in as good a position as he was in the earlier races. He's actually net 3rd out of the guys that have jumped into the pits. Brandon Hawken is the front car or front truck out of everyone pitted. Ray Partridge 2nd and Bell in 3rd. So for the first time all day, Matthew Bell is under pressure to get the net lead of this race, as we've now got Arden, McFadden, Schaff and Palmer in the pits. Only 4 trucks left to pit in this race.
Yes, indeed. So everyone, almost everyone going early, well and truly realizing the significance of that. Ray Partridge versus Matthew Bell. Very close through the tri-oval. Partridge just has a little bit of an advantage. Oh, coming down slightly. As the cars come out of the pits.
Oh, contact between them. Partridge almost
hold on. Yeah, Partridge holds on. Very well held, but goodness me. That was a bit elbows out between those two. Going to a CPR car parts replay. So Partridge coming down, Bell coming up. They both want the same bit of track. Just coming into turn 1, Bell going for that wide entry, Partridge going for the aggressive turn in, but Bell didn't move. So I don't think there was one driver at fault there, honestly.
Another one of those situations that we always talk about where you don't want to be in race control. You're quite happy to sit in the commentary box and watch that one, as we've got Bennett in, Laronde following him in. So only Paulison and Hutchison still to go into the pits. That was a really impressive bit of driving there from Ray Partridge. Could quite easily put it in the fence and ended a few other drivers' races. Lauren Arden going to come through because there's a little bit of damage on the side of Ray Partridge's truck. He'll probably let Chris Beck go through as well, being teammates. There's nothing to fight for holding on or holding up your teammate. Let your faster teammates through, use the advantage and tuck in behind them and help them fight the fight of this event. It's all about teamwork, and it's something really unusual in a lot of racing that we don't often see, is drivers that don't normally work together. We see lots of little teams out there, but to see 2 teams of 8 drivers working together is a really cool dynamic to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's awesome, especially with the 50-50 split between the fields. Brian Bennett just coming out of the pits.
Yeah, Bennett's actually a fair way down the field at the moment as well. He had a long stop there, 16 seconds. And also Derbyshire had a long stop as well.
Schaff and Palmer.
Yeah, and
Schaff and Palmer. Yes, indeed. But Schaff and Palmer, I'm noticing, very close. They were almost touching through the tri-oval. Schaff with the advantage, and through he goes. But Bell and Hawken holding themselves very well up the front, effectively. as Wayne Hutchison and Stephen Paulison continue to hold the current on-track lead, they're going to go for a very late stop.
Sorry for my silence there, Reese. I was just trying to do some sums in my head there, but as it
All
is
good.
right now, it's very, very tight. This positional battle here between Valval and Arden could actually change the whole complexion of this matchup. So we'll watch it and see as there's almost contact between them. This is for effective 5th and 6th. At the moment it's 6th and 7th out of track, so it's for 4th and 5th, I should say. But this could change who goes through. So if Arden can get through, it's a 6-point swing in favour. It's still slightly in favour of Team Canada right now, but that doesn't mean that will change as this race progresses.
Yeah, exactly right. We saw it last night. The battle for 2nd and 3rd was what helped decide. Oh, Chris Beck into the wall. That's unfortunate for him.
That will not help the Northwest team. You can see the damage on the front of that truck. Also got D. Palmer, and it's just been passed by Carl Schraff, and also here comes CR Reed to take advantage as well. So Palmer very, very slow and just getting checked up a little bit there from Schraff, and they're going to go 3 wide down the front straight. You can see Reed making sure he's staying above the white line as he's making this pass. Can't drop below the white line to make an overtake, regardless of how wide your opponent is. If your opponent's on the outside wall, you still can't drop below the white line to make a pass. We've also got Arden coming through, getting past on Belval, so this has changed for potential points in this event. And just ahead as well, Stab now putting pressure on Hawken, and this could change a position for the effective overall as well. This is going to mean that it's around about tied for points. It's very, very close. I'm going to stay out of the points now, but from what I can tell, it's around 61-60. I'm not sure who's in favour and who's in the lead position at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's going to have to be people with a bit more time on their hands to
Not me.
work those calculations, certainly. We've got a broadcast to worry about here.
We're at lots of other numbers to look at.
Yeah, Jeff Stab now ahead of Brandon Hawken, but Hawken, you can see he's in that draft. Have a look who is advancing. Lauren Arden, look at the run that he's got. Brandon Hawken's in trouble here.
He is. He's just a sitting duck at the moment. His pace is nowhere near as good as those other guys around him. We saw him earlier on. He looked really strong in the Lotus 79, but definitely not the same pace out there in the NASCAR Truck Series cars. And he drops back to effective 4th position now, and Arden just leaving him enough room on the outside there. Almost squeezes him into the wall, but just leaves enough room. Arden drops back to effective 4th.
Yes, indeed, and Hawken just yielding to Arden there. I think just preparing for an onslaught in the final laps of this one. Doesn't want to stay too close, wants to get a bit of a draft going, get some momentum going. And then he'll be able to really attack in the last couple of laps, if his tyres last.
Had a change of position for what could be one of the key spots, because Carl Schraff has just gone past D. Palmer. That's net 10th at the moment, as we've got Wayne Hutchison in the pits. So the 10th and 11th positional change, even though it actually says at the moment. In saying that, here comes Palmer back. And could we see again that last position make all the difference in this event?
It's entirely possible. It's really close between all of these drivers. CR Reed currently in on track 10th, but have a look at Palmer coming under attack from Carl Schaaf for effective 10th.
What a fight this has been the whole way through this race.
They haven't left each other alone, have they?
No. Hutchison's just coming out of the pits as well. He's going to come out right with these guys as well, so this is going to be an intense fight.
Oh, look out, Palmer with the run. Awesome run on Carl Schaaf. Wayne Hutchison right in the thick of it now. Just working the wheels slightly through the turns. The truck getting out from under him slightly. And Palmer there in the draft. Any advantage? No, sorry, not Palmer. I'm stupid. It's Schaaf.
It's alright, I'll let you off. It's been a long morning already for you. You haven't even had breakfast yet. You got up and jumped straight into the comms box with me. I appreciate your help, and it's a big day for us here on Speed TV with Scops coming up in a few hours' time. But, what a race this is. This is so intense. At the back of the field, teammates make contact between CR and Mark McFadden. Here comes Palmer, going to take advantage. This could change how the race goes. It's gone from 10th to 9th. That's another 4-point swing, and could he get another spot? Palmer almost making contact with Reed.
Yeah, you could see that Palmer gaining on Reed, and Reed, that's a very tactical move, going down to the inside, because that would leave Palmer with no choice but to go below the white line. So Palmer had to yield there. Have a look at this. Palmer balked on the exit. This is going to let Shaft back through.
Wow, what a fight this is. We've got 3.5 laps to go, and this is still up for grabs. We've just seen massive point swings. The front of the field looks fairly settled in regards to team positioning. First for Canada, second and third for Northwest, fourth and fifth for Canada. But then this next pack of drivers could decide who will go through and who will advance to the next round of the 10th annual World Cup of iRacing and get down to our final 4 teams. Who is going to take it? Have a look at Palmer around the outside, gets 2 in one corner at the exit. McFadden massively checked up, and here comes Hutchison to take advantage. They're going to go 3 wide, and Hutchison gets into 10th.
Wow! What a run from Northwest in that just 1/2 of a lap. Fantastic stuff from those guys.
It's not over.
Hutchison in trouble again. Carl Schaff now with the run coming out of the last turn. They start lap 19 out of 20.
This is not done. This is not over. The points are still very tight. It's also closing up for the overall lead of this race. But here comes Hutchison back up the inside of Shaft. They're still side by side down the back straight. White flag this time by. Who is going to take it? I am glad I'm not working out the points because it's giving me an ice cream headache already.
Yes, certainly. Shaft with that outside advantage through the mid-corner, but have a look on the exit. Wayne Hutchison coming back. Contact. They're going to slide. There's going to be a crash. The 98 spinning around, and Carl Shaft straight into the start of the pit wall.
McFadden, though, has got back into 10th position. So crucially, Canada has been knocked out of 10th and then takes 10th back. Hutchison's dropped all the way back. McFadden is going to try and hold on. This position is not done. Just ahead as well, CR Reed is closing up on D Palmer, but at the front of the field, Matthew Bell once again is going to cross the line to pick up a win. 3 from 3 for the Team Canada driver. Stabnow very, very close in the end, and Lauren Arden come back after a horrible race too. Gets 3rd position, Hawken in 4th, Belval in 5th, Beck in 6th, but it is not over at the back of the field. Side by side across the line, Partridge and McFadden. Who got it?
Partridge.
Partridge by 17 thousandths of a second.
Wow. Wow. So there we go. Looks like that may be decided. Administrators saying in the chat that they can't do a ruling on 17 versus 98 because all pit stops are now over.
Okay. So we wait.
So we do wait. Of course, that may not be the final communication regarding that incident, but that was quite an interesting one. Poor Carl Shaft. He got shafted.
Very, very good way of putting it. We're just staying silent for a minute because I'm just getting the old calculator out and doing some sums. So I'll try and work out some rough points from what I can see straight away. That it looks like Canada might be safe, but it's very close. It's very close.
It looks like Canada win 64 to 57.
Yeah, I was just adding that up there and got the same number, so that's always a good sign. But that's very, very close as well. So great job from both teams. What a fight between both teams throughout the entire event. Congratulations to both teams on an awesome fight. love the real hard-fought racing between both teams. It's great to watch.
Yeah, very competitive from both of those clubs, and really showed the class of some of their drivers there. Certainly one to remember. But Jay, I think that brings it to an end for this particular race, with Matthew Bell winning for Team Canada, and Team Canada taking the win in this matchup.
Yeah, congratulations to Team Canada on winning both rounds. It's awesome to see that we've had both of our races between these two clubs go down to the third deciding match, and we knew that the matchups being the 4th and 5th place teams in pre-qualifying, that this was going to be even matchups, but I think that's even surprised us how close both those races were. They literally come down to the last couple of positions on the last lap. Awesome racing.
Yes, indeed. And with that, we say goodbye for now. SimSpeed TV on the iRacing eSports Network. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to SimSpeed on YouTube and subscribe to the iRacing eSports Network as well if you haven't already. The fun never stops on here. Fantastic stuff from all of iRacing's biggest broadcasters. Congratulations to Team Canada for winning this matchup, and we will see you next time.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing eSports Network.